Ignite in community sisters, friends, journey partners. Welcome to another episode of Carbs and Mirrors. Well, spring is finally here, as I shared in my last video. We've sprung ahead with time change for those that do daylight savings, and days are starting to get longer and brighter, and the temperature is just way more milder. With seasonal changes, it also does mean our bodies will be working just a little bit harder to adapt to the change. One thing we can often overlook is how resilient and adaptable our bodies are. We forget to show gratitude and appreciation for this magnificent system of organs that work together like a well-curated symphony. When things are in sync, the melodies are harmonious and flowing beautifully, and when it's out of sync, the tune is just not as beautiful. With that, today we will talk about how to get things in sync and to get that tune more harmonious and flowing beautifully. In particular, today I want to address how to give your body a boost and up the immunity power within during this transitional time. So I'm going to give you a few examples of how you can find some of the most important immune boosting micronutrients, so meaning minerals and vitamins found in various foods. So you'll see so many doctors and healthcare practitioners talk about, but these are actually found right in your local grocery store. And so one thing I want to just mention and to be clear is that I am a big fan of natural supplements, and I do take them daily under proper supervision. And that's one of the keys, is to make sure that you are supplementing properly under somebody, a healthcare practitioner guidance. And that I find my naturopath is somebody that I get proper guidance from, as well as a dietitian or a holistic nutritionist in that, right? And so these are other tools and ways just to make sure that you are properly supplementing. And so one of the things that I just wanted to say, because sometimes there's a misconception that more is better, but in reality, it actually isn't. Right? We have to understand that there is this thing that's called bioavailability. And basically what that means is how much of what we are putting into our bodies, especially in terms of supplementation, is actually really needed by our bodies, and how quickly it is absorbed into the circulatory system for it to actually be beneficial and not to cause harm. Now, one thing is that each of us are uniquely made, and so the amounts that we each need are going to vary. And so, but I think, as long as we're aware of that, I think one of the biggest takeaway is to remember that more is not necessarily better. And I just want to make sure that we know that. And so, yeah, I have a friend actually who once thought that taking more vitamin C was actually going to make them more immune from getting sick. However, the opposite actually happened, and their body started to break down, especially their digestive system, because it was just getting way too much vitamin C supplement. It actually took them years to get their digestive system back to a place where they weren't in constant pain and having to avoid a lot of different foods that could cause irritation. So by supplementing, this can easily cause overdosing to occur without knowing, because the amounts are super concentrated, right? And so what I could find, a lot of the research shows that the daily recommended amount of vitamin C, for example, is around 90 milligrams. Whereas if you go to the store, you'll notice that most of the supplements contain 500 to 1,000 milligrams. So that's the thing, is that we have to remember that, that again, right? Like, more is not necessarily better. And we have to remember that the body likes homeostasis, right? It means that it likes balance. And so anytime we are introducing excess amount of stuff, our bodies will fight because it feels like it's this foreign thing that is entering our bodies. And so it will do everything in its power to get it back to homeostasis, to get it into balance, right? And so depending on how it's fighting internally, that's where it can kind of wreak different havocs in different areas. And so just to be cautious of that, and that's why today I really just wanted to focus on how can you boost your immune system by simply going to the grocery store. And so I hope that you'll find that this is helpful. Again, I'm going to try to share my screen with a few slides, so feel free to take some screenshots, and I'll also share on my social in case you don't get them. So here we go. Give me just a second again as I try to get this going. So, okay. Hopefully you can see that. And here we go. So these are some immune boosting foods. They can all be found in your local grocery store. So the first one is vitamin A. So these actually can be found in all of your orange and yellow fruits and vegetables. I've given you a few examples there, like carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkins. The other place that you can find vitamin A is in leafy greens like kale, spinach, Swiss chard. Vitamin C. So this is actually found, which I found very interesting, in all plant foods, which is kind of cool. But it is also especially found in bell peppers, oranges, citrus fruits, kiwi, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, melons, and strawberries. Vitamin E. So butternut squash, leafy greens, nuts and seeds, and broccoli. I think like if you've been, especially during this pandemic season and that, we've heard a lot about vitamin D being essential, vitamin C being essential. So we want to make sure that some of these are added into our daily rhythm. And so, yeah. B vitamins. Okay, so these actually can be found in citrus fruits or whole grains, nuts and seeds, and lentils. This is why we need to be embracing the carbs, right? Like if you haven't catch the what is a carb episode in that, please go and tune into that. I give you a breakdown of actually what actual carbs are and just some of the misnomers around why people keep saying they need to avoid carbs, but it's actually essential because you can see here, right, whole grains are very important for B vitamins. So yeah, so again, so you're seeing some broccoli and spinach, avocados, bananas. Folate, so this is vitamin B9. You can find these in oranges and bananas, leafy greens, broccoli again, Brussels sprouts, avocados. So you'll see some, I've tried to like duplicate some of them. So you'll see like, you can try like maybe one and it hits a bunch of different micronutrients. Iron. So as women, this is something that, is very important for our immune system. And so these are a few areas where you can find iron. And so tofu, beans and lentils, cashews, dried fruit, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, and chickpeas. Zinc. So zinc has been also been talked a lot about, especially during COVID. And so this is a supplement that has been researched quite a lot in helping to up our immune system in the in order for us to be able to combat COVID-19. And so these are a few foods that you can eat that would help to increase your zinc levels. So tofu, oatmeal, lentils, cashews and peanuts, sunflower seeds, chickpeas. So a bunch of different varieties. If you have tree nut allergies and that, from the list you can find different other things in that. So hopefully that's helpful. And then lastly is selenium. And so selenium, you can really, the one only place that I could really find anything on was Brazil nuts. So, so I feel like, if you're not a big Brazil nut fan, then maybe selenium is a supplement that you would want to take through supplementation. But if not, and you love Brazil nuts and that, then this is a great source. Okay, so again, I'm going to share these screens. I'll put them on my social media as well, so you can feel free to grab them there if you don't want to rewatch this and try to grab them here. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen again. Okay, so I hope that was like, helpful for you just to even get a glimpse of some of the different foods that contain the various micronutrients that are good for immune boosting, especially in this season. So as you can see, right, eating a nutrient dense diet, and I want you to, whenever we use the word diet and that, I don't want you to think about restricting or eliminating. It simply is just a word for meal planning. That it includes a wide variety of whole plant foods, including like legumes and whole grains, nuts, seeds, fruits, veggies, and a great way to help boost your immune system and stay in tip-top shape, right? One of the things that I did find, and you'll probably want to just jot these down, I didn't make a slide, was there are certain vitamin combinations that you may want to avoid. So you want to avoid vitamin C with vitamin B12. So if you are doing a B12 and a vitamin C supplement, make sure that they are separated when you are taking them. Similarly, a vitamin A and that, which is found in a lot of these foods that we were talking about. So you don't want to do food and a vitamin A supplementation, right? You choose one or the other. So just to make sure that you're not doing both. You also want to avoid so folate, so the vitamin B9 combining with a B12. So again, similarly, take one maybe in the morning, do one in the afternoon or at dinner time. And then the last one is a vitamin E. You want to avoid it with vitamin K. So yes, these were just some that during the research that I came upon, that said to avoid. And so sometimes you don't want to have contradictions in medication. And so I just thought that this was good to kind of know, because sometimes we just take a whole bunch of vitamins and not realize, right? So I hope today's video was helpful as we fully embrace the spring season and just find ways to help our bodies become the very best they can be without any shame, blame, guilt, or judgment, right? I believe this is how we start to refine and just redefine what healthy actually means, and we can love ourselves unconditionally. Now, if you are feeling a little overwhelmed by this list and feel like you aren't getting a lot of these foods in, I want you to know that you are not alone, okay? I totally feel you, sister. I know for myself, when I was doing the research for this episode, I learned a lot of where I can make things better. And I think my advice would be is that if we start by just adding one food each week, or even until it feels natural to have it regularly. For example, like, I mentioned broccoli. It appeared in a few of the different lists in that. What if we added broccoli, like, start with like at dinner time, and then maybe like build it up to like have it at lunch and dinner or something like that, and do it consecutively, like, for a week or until it really does feel natural and it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm having broccoli. And so just kind of play with that. And I just want you to give yourself grace, because, whenever we're trying something new or trying to do things differently, it takes a bit of time to put it into practice. And so just to be gentle with yourself with it. I know I'm going to be changing up a few things that I realized I wasn't implementing. And yeah, as much as I rely on supplementations, I do want to see if I can get more of those micronutrients in the foods that I eat, because then it can I don't have to worry about like overdosing or adding too much supplementation into my body in that. So it's just something to be careful of. And so, yeah, I'm like I've always said, I'm journeying alongside you as well. And so I'm learning just as much as you are. And together we're learning to embrace more carbs and the mirrors and just being okay with, changing things up. And it'll take time, and that's all right. That's why it's called a journey. It's not a destination, right? And so yeah, I'm excited to know that I have you on this journey alongside me as we learn together is something that is super helpful. And so anytime, if you have any questions, or if you you know want me to find out something else, or anything, please feel free to reach out and let me know, because I am here just as much to learn as you are. And so together in that, we make each other better. And so until next time, I want you to remember that I am cheering you on because I believe in you. And so again, if you enjoyed today's content, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like, comment, and share this episode with a friend or a fellow sister who you might think needs to hear today's talk. Also, don't forget to check out all the other amazing speakers and teachers inside the channel. And now, to connect with me personally and to keep the conversation going, or just to hang out and be social together, and that, you can find me on Instagram at ms.ms.alicia.ha, or feel free to email me at carbsandmirrors, all one word, @gmail.com. All the details can be found in the description below if you missed any of it. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I can't wait to spend some more time with you on another episode of Carbs and Mirrors. And until next time, I'll see you.